What's up, everybody? This is E coming to y'all with another episode of Hit the Sled. Before we get started on this episode, I gotta tell y'all, gotta subscribe. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Hit the Sled. But not only subscribe to that YouTube channel, hit the like button as well. The reason for hitting that like button is because that will be able to get my likes up, be able to grow, and I can start getting more and more people on Hit the Sled. But not only am I on my YouTube channel, also I got an Instagram page, I got a Twitter page, and also I got a Facebook page as well. So I implore y'all to follow me, Hit the Sled. We coming. We got more and more stuff. I'm working behind the scenes, trying to get more and more stuff going. That being said, man, let's go into today's episode, which is the preview of Week 8, Week 9 of the college football season. Man, this news right here that I'm getting ready to give y'all is something I don't want to report. But one thing about what I'm going to be doing, this is going to be an honest, truthful, fact-oriented podcast, meaning that the information that I'm going to be giving is going to be factual. It's going to be not biased. And the school that I'm going to be talking about is my favorite school. Anybody that knows me knows that I love my Michigan Wolverines. However, I got to start there. And from everything I'm seeing, first of all, let's start here. Michigan is currently on the bye. They're next week. They come off their bye. They play Purdue at home next week. And this news about Michigan sign stealing is the scandal right now in college football. It's all over the place. It don't matter if you're on the radio. It don't matter if you're watching on TV. It don't matter if you're listening to it on a podcast. If it's anything regarding college football, that's the first thing they're going to talk about. Is my Wolverine in its stealing sign scandals. Man, it's all over. The first thing we got to talk about, let's go back to last week. If you haven't heard, it's a football analyst for the Wolverines by the name of Connor Stallion. He's a former military Navy captain, Marine captain, I should say, excuse me. And he was hired as a football analyst by Jim he's been there now a couple years. And as we move forward with this, as I'm learning more and more about it, what is coming to light, it looks like Connor Stallion was hired to be stealing signs by Jim. He was hired to steal signs by Jim, and it was one of those things where it looks like, from all the information I'm gathering, let me go here. According to the Washington Post. Now, this is the Washington Post they more focus on the National Football League, the NFL, and national sports. But this is a national story now. We do have a national coach in Jim Harbaugh, and Michigan football is a national program. It's a national program. It's a top 5, top 6, 7 program in all of college football. In my regard, in my opinion, it's a top 5 program. And the Washington Post, if they stop reporting on you, you best believe it's a national story. They reported this week that all this kicked off because an outside investigative firm approached the NCAA with information they had gathered. Someone hired an investigative firm. We don't know yet. The Washington Post was not able to get the information as to who hired this firm. But according to their sources, this firm, an investigative firm, was hired by someone. And they gathered information. They gathered documents and videos obtained from a computer maintained or accessed by multiple Michigan coaches. They took this information and they provided it to the NCAA. The NCAA did not have this information on their own. Someone hired their outside firm, and they presented this evidence to the NCAA. They did that. The firm started the investigation. So we don't know yet who hired this firm. We don't know yet, but eventually we're going to find out. According to the information that the investigative firms were they were able to get, the main people that Michigan was targeting was Ohio State, of course, and Georgia. They were trying to get information on Ohio State and Georgia. In total, this operation was going to cost about 15,000. It was going to go between from buying tickets to traveling and stuff like that. The firm also, from the information the firm gathered and presented to the NCAA, they provided photographs of people, supposedly Michigan scouts in action, including students student interns with the football team. They had information on them at different schools going about scouting. They had people with videotapes and pictures of them on cell phones. Now we don't know how. I'm just telling you what the Washington Post was reporting, and I haven't seen the videos, I haven't seen the pictures, but that's what the Post is reporting. One thing they said that they're saying that it was an operation where Connor Stallion was buying tickets and forwarding it to different people, and these people were the ones that were going out and scouting. As of right now, from people that I see, people that I listen to from the university's point of view, this is totally, they believe, and this is from the Michigan perspective, they believe Ohio State hired this firm. They believe the Buckeyes hired this firm, and they're the ones that went about presenting this information to the NCAA. Now, I don't have information stating that that's the case, but that's what those people are saying. And the people that I heard say it are people that I tend to believe. They believe that it was Ohio State that did it. They believe it was Ohio State that paid for the firm, the investigative firm, to go out and get this information. Now, the question you got to ask yourself is this: Who in the Big Ten is a direct rival of Michigan? Penn State and Ohio State. Maryland not going to do that. Maryland ain't going to do that. Rutgers not going to do that. Iowa not going to do that. Wisconsin not going to do that. Those schools, Nebraska not going to do that. Minnesota not going to do that. Michigan State, they got their own problems. They got a coach who just got found out that he was sexually harassing women. They ain't going to do that. Who is the school that you think would do something like that? Georgia demolished us 2 years ago. They don't look at us as a threat. Alabama ain't doing it. Texas not going to do it. Okay, you might say, what about the schools coming in? USC? USC not even in the conference yet. They ain't worrying about that yet. Oregon, why would Oregon care about that? UCLA, why would they worry about that? So the only two schools that I would think would do something like this would be either Penn State or Ohio State. The question you got to ask yourself there moving forward: what school would benefit the most by Michigan being in this predicament now? It's Ohio State. It's the Buckeyes. In my opinion, the Buckeyes are the ones that really, 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 really could benefit from this more than anybody. So you got to move this thing forward in that if you think the hatred for the Buckeyes is the hatred and the rivalry between those schools wasn't already big, man, it's going to be on cloud 30, cloud 100. they're gonna be going after each other hard. They're gonna be going after each other hard. According to Pete Thamel of ESPN, the NCAA was at Michigan this week. Pete Thamel was there. Pete Thamel has been all over this from the very beginning. He's saying that NCAA was there, and typically the NCAA doesn't move this fast, but because of the urgency of the matter, the NCAA is moving at warp speed in this matter. Now, do I think they will be able to come to a conclusion by the end of this season? I don't think so. But this is just the beginning. One thing I can also say though, Dan Wetzel of Yahoo Sports, a very good journalist who also has a podcast along with Pat Forty. He tweeted out that from all the information he's gathered and all the information that everyone that's seen everything know, Jim apparently didn't know what was going on. He was not involved in the sign stealing thing. That's important, but also it's not that important as well. It's important because as a fan, I'm glad to hear that Jim, because I always thought Jim had all his quirks. You always hear stories about Jim being a man. He does his own thing. But one thing I never thought Jim was a cheat. To that extent. But to hear that he's not involved, that's good to know. I am forming an opinion about this. But this is not the end of it either. This is just the beginning. Another story I'm gonna get to before I finish this, then I'm gonna get to another one. The NCAA passed a rule early this year, stating that even if a coach doesn't know what's going on, he is still held responsible for what goes on in this program. So that means that the NCAA, even if Jim had no knowledge, Jim wasn't actively involved, Jim wasn't the one going behind the scene giving up the 15 grand and all this money here, they still gonna hold him responsible because he's the coach. It's his program. So expect Jim to do some time next year. He's gonna be suspended next year again if he's still the coach. If Michigan is the coach, if Jim is the coach at Michigan, he's gonna do some time. Earlier this year, as you already know, Jim did a 3-game suspension for the prior NCAA investigation. And he did 3 games unwillingly. He didn't want to do it, but they made him sit 3 games. And now fast forward, he's going to sit some time for this, more than likely. More than likely, he's going to have to sit some time. He really is. He's going to have to sit some time. And this is not the end. This is not the only thing that's going on, though, in Ann Arbor. Another thing that's going on, the former quarterback coach was fired after the season last year. He was fired because apparently he was a suspect in a computer crimes issue on campus. Well, ESPN reported yesterday that not only is the University of Michigan Police Department investigating Matt Wise, the quarterback coach gentleman is by the name of Matt Wise, but also the FBI is involved. So you got the FBI and the University of Michigan Police Department investigating Matt Wise for computer crimes. What in the Lord is going on with Jim, man? Who's these people Jim hiring? I gotta ask that question. I'm a true Wolverine fan. I'm a true Michigan fan. But I gotta ask myself, why is Jim hiring people that are involved in stuff like this? Connor Stallion, why are you doing all this craziness? Who told you should be doing this? Jim, quarterback coach Matt Wise, Why did you hire him? I understand he came from Baltimore. He was with John Harbaugh with the Ravens. I understand that. Highly recommended. Y'all did your background. But sometimes you got to see people, man. You got to be able to see people. One of the greatest things, and I'm telling y'all this, one of the greatest things about being a leader, one of your greatest ability is you have to be able to choose people. You have to be able to choose the right people as a leader. Whenever you have people working for you, you have to be able to choose the right people to be in your orbit. And mind you, Jim had another situation where he had an analyst that was Bo Schembechler, a grandson or something like that. He had all type of racist stuff going on his Facebook page. And Jim hired him, but until they found out about it, they had to let him go. One of the biggest misconception people have is that you can just because someone has a lot of money or is the head of an organization, he knows how to pick people. It's a talent. You have to be able to see people. You have to be able to identify talent. You have to be able to see that, hey, this person right here can do it. Or this person, nah, he can't do it. You have to be able to do that. And right now, Jim is not doing a good job in that. I gotta honestly say. He's not doing a good job of it. He had people around his coaches, part of his program that shouldn't have been there. Now you can't control everybody. These are grown men, but still, can't have this. Can't have it. I'm sorry. I can't have it. He can't have it. So this thing just getting started. Fortunately, it looks like the kids, the young people that we got on the team, they locked in, they focused, they ready to go try to prove everybody wrong. Now that's a heavy burden for those youngsters, man. It's a heavy burden. Every week, you trying to fight. You're not only fighting against the team in front of you, you're fighting against the other team and their fans. That's a hell of a burden. That's a hell of a burden. But let's see, man. I'm hoping that they can be able to handle it. It's gonna be interesting moving forward. Where we go from here. As we move on from my Wolverines, we got to move on to, before they went on the bye week, the team of the college football season so far. The story of college football so far has been the Colorado Buffaloes. They're coming up their bye week. They play UCLA this week. UCLA played Stanford last week. They beat Stanford 42-7. It's gonna be Colorado getting some of their players back. It's gonna be a whirlwind out there. They playing at the Rose Bowl, 7:30 on ABC. It's supposed to be sold out. Sold out, meaning that UCLA never sells out unless a big team coming in. Well, the Colorado coming into town, it's a big deal. Colorado should get some of their players back, like I said. Coming out of their bye, the things I'm gonna be looking for is whether or not they fix some of their issues, meaning that whether or not they fix their run game. Can they be able to run the ball a little better? Can they come up with some type of way to run the ball? Not only that, have they got better with their pass protection? The bye week did them any good. Got healthy, pass protection, body healed. You feel good, you fresh. Stand up. Got to be strong up front. Let's see if they did that. And the other thing I want to see if they got time to coordinate this thing a little bit is the secondary issue. The coverage bust. Coverage bust everywhere. People running wide open. No continuity in the secondary. Let's see whether or not they actually did that. Where they got that fixed. Those are the things I'm going to see. I want to see. Are they going to beat UCLA? UCLA is playing a freshman quarterback, Dante Moore, former 5-star quarterback out of Detroit. And let me tell y'all something. And speaking of that Michigan story, the reason why Dante Moore is not at Michigan, he's from Detroit. The reason why he didn't go to Michigan is because of Matt Wise. The coach Jim fired. That has computer crime issues going on, being investigated by the FBI. Dante Moore is at UCLA. He's slowly coming around. So let's hope he have a freshman game so that Colorado can steal that win. But it's gonna be tough sledding out there in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl, the big daddy of them all. Let's see really if they can really pull off an upset, get that win. It's gonna be critical. I really believe that it's gonna be critical for them to do that, for them to get that win. The next game, a big one, is Oregon at Utah. Utah with a big win over USC last weekend. In the last minutes, kicked the game-winning field goal with about no time left on the clock. Utah, they hard-nosed, man. Play defense. It's at Utah. Man, it's gonna be hard-nosed. This right here can go either way. This thing can go either way. I think the key to this game right here is Utah defense against Oregon's offense. If Utah defense can slow down Oregon offense, they might be able to pull this off. Utah, they do this every year. They hard-nosed. They hard to play against. They just do what they supposed to do. So let's see. Let's see if they can pull it off. My next game, I'm talking about USC versus Cal. Let's see how this mainly right here is. I want to see how Caleb bounces back. A tough loss last week against Utah. He played okay. But like I said before last week, if Caleb doesn't play great, USC ain't gonna win. Because their defense is inadequate. I said it last week. Lincoln Riley has to make some changes. I said it last week. He has to move on from his friend, or they might be coaching buddies, Alex Grinch. He has to look at the personnel that he has out there. They're not big enough. Defensively, they're all over the place. I watched the game against Utah last week. They were making boneheaded plays. They were making losing plays. That's what I call them. They were making losing plays. You got a defensive tackle on the drive. For Utah driving to kick the field goal. He get a personal foul, targeting. It wasn't a vicious hit. But he touched him on the helmet with his helmet. He touched the quarterback in his face mask with his helmet. What you think gonna happen? Them refs gonna call it. And they did. And they gave him target. And he used USC best player on defense, Bear Alexander. Number 90. Kicked him out the game. And also, USC let the quarterback for Utah scramble for like 20, 30 yards to set up the field goal. It's just they're poorly coached on defense, and that's what's killing them. That's what's killing them. So before they go to the Big Ten, Lincoln Riley got to earn his check. He got a real problem on his hands. He really do. He got a real problem on his hands because defensively, they're not good enough. They're not good enough at all. So those are the games. This week is not really a good sled of games. You got some other ones out there, but mainly these games right here that I pulled up, they're gonna be the ones I'm gonna be watching this week. That being said, man, I truly appreciate y'all watching me on Hit the Sled. Hey, again, subscribe to my YouTube channel, but not only subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my videos. That's help me out a great deal. And also, not only on my YouTube channel, like or follow me and subscribe me on my YouTube channel, but also go to my Instagram page. my Facebook page and my Twitter page as well. Man, I truly appreciate y'all. This has been a great opportunity to come to y'all. This episode is not one of my favorites but I got to tell the truth when I see it. I really do. I got to tell the truth when I see it, and I got to tell the truth what's going on with my Wolverines. It pains me, but that's what I got to do. I appreciate y'all. Hit the sled.